The end of an era? Or the rise of a new star? Daniel Ricciardo's journey in Formula One has been nothing short of a rollercoaster, thrilling highs and crushing lows. After years of being a fan favorite, it seems like his time on the grid may have come to a close, with the Singapore Grand Prix potentially marking the end of his illustrious career. But here's the twist: Ricciardo's departure may not just be the story here. A new chapter is unfolding, one that could change the face of Formula One. Enter Liam Lawson, the young, fiery reserve driver who's ready to grab his chance at the wheel. The big question is, will Red Bull pass the torch to this rising star? Or will Ricciardo's legacy overshadow his replacement? Stick around, because what we're about to uncover might just surprise you. Lawson has been biding his time, and now that his moment might finally come, the stakes have never been higher for the future of Red Bull. Buckle up, because we're diving deep into the shifting dynamics of one of F1's top teams, and this could be a game changer. Daniel Ricciardo, one of Formula One's most charismatic and skilled drivers, may have driven his last Grand Prix race in Singapore. This wasn't the grand send-off he had imagined, a dream scenario of retiring as a Red Bull legend alongside Max Verstappen, the very teammate he once mentored. But racing, much like life, doesn't always go as planned. Now, the focus shifts to racing bulls and the significant decisions they must make about their future lineup. With Red Bull's plans beyond 2025 under scrutiny, there's one crucial question: could Liam Lawson, the promising young reserve driver, be the perfect candidate to secure a full-time F1 seat? Lawson's potential has been a hot topic in the paddock, and the timing seems right for this rising talent to claim his place on the grid. Helmut Marko, one of Red Bull's key decision-makers, has made it clear that the future lies in the hands of young drivers, not veterans. Yet, this stance hasn't been unanimously embraced. Christian Horner has consistently played down the possibility, hinting that the team isn't quite ready to make such a bold shift just yet. As the debate rages on, it leaves us wondering, will Red Bull commit to the youth, or are they still banking on experience to carry them forward? Liam Lawson's rise to prominence has been nothing short of impressive. After spending months as Red Bull's reserve driver, the 21-year-old Kiwi seems poised to drop the reserve title and finally claim his place as a full-time driver. Over the past few months, Lawson has proven himself in multiple junior formulas, earning admiration from both fans and senior figures within Red Bull, especially from Helmut Marko. Marko has been vocal about Lawson's potential, stating that the future of Red Bull lies with fresh talent rather than seasoned veterans. But as exciting as this may sound, not everyone within Red Bull's camp shares the same enthusiasm. Christian Horner, for instance, has frequently pushed back on the idea of Lawson stepping up, insisting that the team's decisions need to be made carefully and strategically. It's not just about who's fast, but who can consistently deliver results in the high-pressure world of Formula One. And with Red Bull's long-term plans still uncertain beyond 2025, Lawson's chances hang in the balance. Could this be the moment that launches him into the spotlight, or will Red Bull choose to stick with their tried and tested formula of experience? Despite these doubts, there's no denying that the buzz around Lawson is growing louder. His recent performance and undeniable skill behind the wheel have raised questions about whether Red Bull is ready to take the leap and put their faith in the next generation. With the recent departure of Daniel Ricciardo looming large, Red Bull now faces a critical decision. Martin Brundle, a well-respected commentator in the F1 world, recently reported that while Ricciardo will remain part of Red Bull's roster, he won't be driving full-time beyond the Austin Grand Prix. Christian Horner has also confirmed this, admitting that while Ricciardo's performances have been solid, they haven't been quite consistent enough to make him a full-time replacement for Sergio Perez. Daniel was our backup if Sergio dropped the ball, Horner explained. But the reality is that Ricciardo's season, while reasonable, hasn't lived up to the expectations many had for the 8-time race winner. His return to Red Bull may have reignited hope in fans, but his performances haven't been stellar enough to secure him a permanent spot on the team. Now, the focus shifts back to Lawson. Could he be the right driver to fill the gap left by Ricciardo? And if so, will Red Bull be willing to make such a daring choice? With so much on the line, the stakes are higher than ever. As Daniel Ricciardo's future with Red Bull hangs in the balance, the attention turns to Liam Lawson and whether he can seize this rare opportunity. While Ricciardo has brought a wealth of experience and knowledge to the team, Christian Horner has acknowledged that Lawson represents something different potential. "Daniel was our safety net, if Sergio faltered," Horner said. But when it comes to the future, the decision isn't just about today's performance, it's about long-term growth, and that's where Lawson's youth and drive come into play. Ricciardo's role at Red Bull was always seen as a stopgap, a temporary solution if Perez didn't perform. But now, with Perez maintaining his place and Lawson waiting in the wings, the question becomes, is it time to pass the torch to the next generation? Helmut Marko certainly thinks so. He has been vocal in his support for Lawson, highlighting his ability to bring something new to the table. And Lawson's recent performances have only strengthened Marko's belief that the future of Red Bull lies with the youth, not the veterans. While Horner has remained cautious, it's clear that Red Bull needs to plan for the future. Ricciardo's experience is invaluable, but can the team afford to miss out on nurturing the talent that could define the next era of Formula One? Liam Lawson's breakout moment may have already arrived. With just a few races under his belt, Lawson has shown flashes of brilliance that could propel him from reserve driver to full-time F1 competitor. His ability to stay composed under pressure and consistently outperform expectations has impressed key figures in the sport. In just 5 races, Lawson managed to score 2 points, outperforming teammate Yuki Tsunoda in every race they competed in together. This speaks volumes about his potential and the impact he could have if given a full-time seat at Red Bull. Tsunoda himself has admitted that Lawson's presence is putting more pressure on him. In an interview, Tsunoda acknowledged that Lawson's performances have made him more aware of his own shortcomings and that he feels the heat to improve. The competitive dynamic between the two drivers could be exactly what Red Bull needs to push its lineup forward. It's a similar situation to what we've seen with Alex Albon, who has faced pressure from upcoming talents like Franco Colapinto. The internal competition is fierce, and Lawson's strong start has shown he's ready for the challenge. But the real question is, will Red Bull recognize Lawson's potential in time? And will they be willing to give up a seasoned driver like Ricciardo to make room for fresh talent? Ricciardo's departure, while not officially confirmed, seemed inevitable after his post-race interview following the Singapore Grand Prix. His words carried a tone of finality. "I've given it my best shot. It wasn't the fairy tale ending I had in mind, but looking back on a career spanning 13 years, I'm proud of what I've achieved." His career has been remarkable, but the reality of Formula One is harsh. Young talent is always waiting in the wings, and the spotlight inevitably shifts. At the same time, Red Bull finds itself in a position where they need to weigh experience against potential. While Ricciardo may have been a reliable fallback option, his performances haven't been stellar enough to secure his place beyond this season. The team knows that Liam Lawson is a gamble, but he represents the future. As Helmut Marko pointed out, sometimes difficult decisions have to be made to uncover the real answers. There's also the question of how good Lawson truly is, and whether Red Bull is ready to hand over a full-time seat to a driver who's yet to prove himself over a full season. But this is the risk that teams like Red Bull must take if they are to stay competitive in a sport that demands constant evolution. It's also worth noting that Ricciardo brought more to Red Bull than just his racing skills. His experience and decision-making have been invaluable to the team, something even Yuki Tsunoda has publicly admitted. In an interview, Tsunoda spoke about how much he has learned from Ricciardo, particularly regarding the mental side of the sport. "He's taught me a lot about emotional control, staying calm under pressure, and giving consistent feedback," Tsunoda said. "These are things I still struggle with, but Daniel has them down to an art." However, despite the respect he commands, Ricciardo's future in the sport remains uncertain. While he's been a critical part of Red Bull's success, the team is looking ahead, and with the rise of young talents like Lawson, the veteran's time may be coming to an end. It's a harsh reality, but it's one that every F1 driver must face eventually. No matter how successful they've been, there's always someone younger and faster waiting for their shot. But is Lawson ready to fill those shoes, or is Red Bull risking too much by letting go of such a seasoned driver? Max Verstappen, who has been Red Bull's shining star for years, also acknowledged the impact Ricciardo has had on the team. Verstappen hinted that if Ricciardo's career does indeed come to an end, he would leave behind a legacy that most drivers can only dream of. Daniel's career is something any driver would be proud of, Verstappen said. But the reality is, in a sport where milliseconds matter, youth and performance often outweigh experience. Ricciardo's contributions to the team aren't lost on Verstappen. In fact, Ricciardo's decision to pit for the fastest lap at a crucial moment in Singapore may have a huge impact on Verstappen's championship hopes. By taking the fastest lap away from Lando Norris, Ricciardo potentially secured Verstappen's championship win, even if Verstappen finishes second in every remaining race of the season. With 6 races and 3 sprint events left, the points still up for grabs are significant, but Ricciardo's move may have given Verstappen the edge he needed to lock in the title. Despite this, many view Red Bull's handling of the situation as controversial. Some believe that using Ricciardo to aid Verstappen's title bid isn't entirely fair, and it sparked a debate within the F1 community about whether Red Bull's 4-car strategy, thanks to their ownership of both Red Bull and AlphaTauri, is sporting. Critics, like McLaren CEO Zak Brown, have not been shy about expressing their displeasure with Red Bull's tactics. Brown has raised concerns over the ethics of having multiple teams on the grid, essentially working for one leading driver. Red Bull owns both Red Bull Racing and AlphaTauri, which gives them 4 cars to manipulate race strategy, unlike any other team on the grid. While Mercedes has been accused of similar tactics in the past due to their engine partnerships, no other team has the kind of direct control that Red Bull does over 2 teams. Brown's frustration is understandable, particularly in light of the fact that Ricciardo's fastest lap maneuver could be pivotal in deciding the championship between Verstappen and Norris. Brown pointed out that moves like these, while legal, undermine the integrity of the sport. It's one thing to have teammates helping each other out, Brown said, but owning 4 cars that can influence the championship race is a step too far. While Brown's comments have stirred up some strong emotions, especially among McLaren and Norris fans, it's important to note that Red Bull's strategy isn't without its flaws. After all, the championship isn't over yet, and with Ferrari and McLaren both bringing upgrades in the final races, there's still plenty of room for surprise. Ultimately, the 2024 championship will be decided on the track, not off it. But the dynamics between Red Bull, McLaren, and Ferrari have made this one of the most thrilling seasons in recent memory. As for Ricciardo, his role in shaping the outcome of the title race, whether through his experience or strategic moves like that fastest lap in Singapore, cannot be overstated. The real test, though, will come in the next few races. With Red Bull introducing a flexible front wing in Austin and McLaren needing to perfect its strategy after some questionable decisions in previous races, the competition is far from over. Ricciardo's actions may have given Verstappen the upper hand, but as we all know, anything can happen in Formula One. As the season winds down, the focus shifts to the future. Red Bull will need to decide if Liam Lawson is the right choice to carry them forward into the next era, while McLaren will be fighting tooth and nail to ensure Norris stays in the hunt for the championship. Whatever happens, the outcome will leave its mark on F1 history, and Ricciardo's legacy, even if this is the end for him, will forever be intertwined with this season's dramatic conclusion. Let us know in the comments below what you think about Ricciardo's future and if Lawson is the right fit for Red Bull. And don't forget to click on the next video to stay up to date with everything happening in Formula One. And that's a wrap on today's deep dive into the shifting dynamics at Red Bull Racing. Daniel Ricciardo's future remains uncertain, but one thing is clear: Formula One is evolving, and the rise of young talent like Liam Lawson could shape the sport for years to come. Will Red Bull stick with experience, or is it time for fresh faces to take the wheel? Only time will tell. But no matter what, this season promises a dramatic finish, and we're here to bring you every twist and turn. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more in-depth Formula One content. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Ricciardo still has a place in F1, or is it Lawson's time to shine? And before you go, check out the next video that's popping up on your screen now for more insights on the world of motorsports. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.